The Himalayan kingdom of Nepal, the roof of the world. Kathmandu, its colourful capital city. This is the first site of the country for 70 athletes from around the world who have come to Nepal to compete in the world's highest marathon, the Everest Marathon. Nepal is a deeply religious country where prayer flags flutter and prayer wheels turn. The first half of the 220 miles to the start line at Everest Base Camp is completed by bus. After the athletes leave the bus at Jiri where the road ends, the trail begins that will lead them in 2.5 weeks' time to the start line. Climbing 4,000-metre mountain passes by day and sleeping lower at night, the purpose of the trek is to acclimatise their bodies to the potentially life-threatening altitude they'll face later on. It's a well-organised expedition with cooks to feed the athletes and porters to carry not only their equipment but the kitchens, the tents and the food too. Carrying these heavy loads is not as easy as the professionals make it look, as one of the race favourites, Gary Wilkinson of the UK, discovers.
There's 100 kilos apparently in that, which is basically about 1.5 times my body weight, so due respect to these guys who carry him, I don't know where he is now, I've lost him.
Right, come in, don't you? This side.
Dot Hand of the UK is not here to compete with the porters or for race honours. For her, the experience of being here is enough.
Wonderful. It's a wonderful country. The people are wonderful, really friendly. Yeah, it's a great place.
The event isn't just about a race. It also raises money for clean water, medical and educational projects in schools such as this. In remote areas it can be hard to get school supplies. Dot Hand and her friend Sue Millican are adding to this support with gifts brought from the UK.
We have lots of balls.
After 10 days, the group reaches the Sherpa capital of Namche Bazaar at 3,440 metres. Here, the race will finish in 8 days' time. Posing for a photo in the shadow of Everest, the group are in good spirits. But the race will start at base camp, an altitude of 5,140 metres. And this altitude, combined with the 26-mile run back to Namche Bazaar, is going to challenge their spirits and challenge the team of doctors who have so far only had to deal with minor complaints. As they slowly progress higher, the danger of altitude sickness will increase. Heading the medical team is Dr. Dave Buckler.
The aim of taking so long to get up here is that people can acclimatise. The aim of acclimatisation is for your body to be able to function at a much higher level. If we were to bring someone in here in a helicopter and drop them here now, they would be lucky to survive it, because their body has not made the necessary changes to cope with the lack of oxygen.
Time to test out the emergency equipment. The portable altitude chamber can be inflated to increase atmospheric pressure to what it would be 1,000 metres down the mountain. And later on, this equipment could save a life. For many of the athletes, their first view of Everest is from what must be the world's highest luxury hotel. Steve Barnard from the UK is here not only to try to win, but just being here is his lifetime's ambition.
At the moment, pretty unbelievable. I can't believe I'm here. It's a place that I've read so much about, read so many books, seen the films and everything, and I can't believe that have actually seen Everest for the first time. Strange feeling.
A strange feeling for Steve Barnard, but a more familiar one for Dawn Kenwright, winner of the Everest Marathon back in 1989. An international athlete from the UK, in 1992 Dawn was diagnosed with diabetes and told she could never compete again. She's here to win and to prove the doctors wrong.
I mean, this has to be the ultimate challenge, and all I can say to anybody with diabetes is that, you know, whatever they want to do in life, they can do it. I mean, if you can come here with Everest behind you, you can't go much higher and set yourself much more of a challenge than that.
From Namche Bazaar, the trek continues upwards to the monastery at Tengboche, at a height of 3,860 metres. Tengboche is a holy place and a centre of learning in Tibetan Buddhism. It was here in 1953 that Sir Edmund Hillary was blessed by the monks before the first ascent of Everest. Steve Barnard is not aiming for the summit, but is looking for the same inspiration. From Tengboche, the path starts to climb steeply, and the air starts to get thin. Here, illness can strike anyone, almost at random. All of the party are beginning to feel tired, but Steve Barnard is suffering more than most with a stomach infection and also a headache, a classic sign of altitude sickness.
Okay, just going to feel your head.
The former winner, Dawn Kenwright, is also in trouble and has collapsed on the trail. As a diabetic, the doctors are particularly concerned about her. The problem turns out to be unrelated to her diabetes. She has a severe ear infection, and as she is unable to stand, she cannot continue the trek and must catch up later. Steve Barnard has made it to the camp, but seems in no condition to do well in the marathon. Just 4 days away. As the expedition climbs towards the start, there's a turnaround in the fortunes of Dawn Kenwright and Steve Barnard, who are both beginning to acclimatise.
I'm feeling a lot better today, yeah. I've still got pain and dizziness, but there is an improvement, so hopefully the antibiotics are taking effect.
The main thing about this race is it's tough because it's tough getting there in the first place. There's 2.5 weeks of trekking, 2.5 weeks of living out of tents. There's bugs that people pick up. We've just had a talk now on altitude sickness and all the dangers involved with that. I think what makes this race so tough is getting to the start in a fit state to actually run it. That's the tough part of it.
Steve Barnard has learned by his own experience what a hard place this can be. The Sherpa graveyard near Lobuche is a memorial to the many Sherpas and mountaineers who have died further up the slopes of these mountains.
Yeah, it's pretty sobering actually. It makes you think that this the place we're in can be pretty hostile, and this is, I know we're here for a holiday, here for a bit of fun, but it's a lot more than that. It's a pretty dangerous place to be at times.
Two days until the race, and while some are playing, the doctors are working through a crisis. Dot Hand is suffering an attack of severe altitude sickness, and the doctors prepare the altitude chamber. Dot finds it a frightening experience.
Oh, come on. Come on, you've got to do it, Dot. Come on.
She is helped through her fear by her friend Sue Millican, who goes into the chamber with her.
Take some deep breaths, clear your ears, keep it going.
Steve Barnard's headache has returned worse than ever. It's a tense moment as Dave Buckler checks Steve's balance and coordination. Just descending a few hundred metres would allow his body to recover. If his altitude sickness is dangerous, he will have to go down the mountain and he will miss out on the race start.
Otherwise you could be in trouble. It's not worth staying up here and risking.
No, I'm happy with that.
Are you happy with that?
Yeah. I expected that.
Okay.
It's now safe to carry Dot Hand down the mountain. She will also miss the race start.
See you later, Dot. Take care, man.
Wel, that's it. Yn o'n nes ymlaen. Hwyl, ta-ta.
The eve of the race. The final camp at 5,140 metres. And the final meal. For Gary Wilkinson, one of the race favourites, it's a tense wait for the 7 o'clock start.
Not really thinking about it at the moment, to be honest. Just want to get on that start line and get on with it. See how we go. I think everybody's a bit apprehensive. Nobody really knows how we're going to go on.
For the medical team, the worries of the past weeks are almost over.
We've had 100 people up here. Nearly all of them have kept completely well and are all ready to race. So the sun is coming up over Everest behind, looking out the tent there. I think we've got a good day for the world's highest and hardest marathon. Cheers.
There's a strong Nepalese contingent in the race, many of whom live at high altitude, and this gives them some advantage over foreigners like Gary Wilkinson. The foremost of the Nepalese runners is past winner Harry Roker.
Good morning, everybody! Welcome to the 1999 Everest Marathon! Okay, ready, steady, it's 7 o'clock, go!
After an enthusiastic early dash, the competitors are soon hit by the lack of oxygen. In a race of this altitude, none of the runners will be able to move at their usual speed. Harry Roker is a former Olympic runner and shows his class as he powers into an early lead. Gary Wilkinson is close behind, speeding up as the air gets richer. The checkpoint at Ferice, 7 miles into the race. After the leaders pass through, those who missed the start because of altitude sickness can run the rest of the course to the finish. Tengboche Monastery, the halfway stage. Harry Roker will break the race record if he keeps up this pace. Kancha Bahadur Sherpa, on home territory, is second. The first foreigner, Gary Wilkinson, is in a battle for third.
This is me.
That's your cap, that's your cap. Gary, your cap. Well done, Joe, keep going. 7. Hey, hey, hey! Thank you.
Having started from Ferice after the leaders passed through, Steve Barnard is showing his ability and is catching them up. Dawn Kenwright has recovered fully from her ear infection and is in a good position to achieve her ambition of being first woman once again.
Fluid here, they weren't, so...
The yak trains that fill the trail are a hazard unique to the Everest Marathon, as one competitor from the USA has found out.
I was coming upon, there was a herd of yaks, and one yak was tangled up. And the farmer saw me and felt bad. He saw that I was racing in a race, and he was telling me to come on. I didn't want to come on. He had the yak held by both. He said, come on. So I went by, and the yak kind of broke loose and just kind of, I saw him coming, so I kind of turned sideways, but he kind of knocked me off the trail, and I tumbled probably 15, 20 feet.
Another American, Jan Richardson, is in trouble. Every runner has to stay ahead of the sweepers, and suffering with a chest infection brought on by the cold air and the dusty trail, Jan Richardson is struggling to stay in the race.
Jan, cold tea.
Dirty one,
No.
dirty one.
No.
Cough is killing me. Jesus. Here's one. Other race, let me tell you, Steve. Christ, I can't remember.
In the end, Richardson is pulled out by the doctors 6 miles from the finish. With the porters used to working at altitude, many runners have to work hard just to beat their own baggage back to Namche Bazaar. Dot Hand has recovered from her bad time in the altitude chamber. Dot is running the shorter course with Sue Millican, who has given up her own dream of running the whole marathon to support her friend.
She's waiting, yeah. She's frightened of the yaks.
How do you feel?
Okay, a bit sick and a bit dizzy, but otherwise, oh,
It's good.
it's good. Hot.
When they reach Namche Bazaar, the runners will still have a 6-mile loop to complete to make the full 26-mile marathon distance. Steve Barnard is running well, but none of the foreigners will catch Harry Roker, who is pushing for the race record. Kancha Bahadur Sherpa is second, but far behind Roker. Gary Wilkinson is still battling for third. Down in Namche Bazaar, the first runner comes into sight, and to local delight it's Harry Roker. In a time of 3 hours and 56 minutes, he has set a new race record, beating the previous best time by 3 minutes. It's a Nepal 1-2, as Kancha Bahadur Sherpa finishes second, 20 minutes later.
Yes, crank it up.
Gary Wilkinson is third, in 4 hours and 38 minutes.
That is the toughest mountain marathon in the world, there's no doubt about it. Setting off at 17,500 feet. I know it's supposed to be a descent of 3,500 foot, but it's not a descent race. It's absolute murder.
Dawn Kenwright realises her dream, but doesn't realise she's won until she crosses the line.
Superb! Here we go, Dawn.
First woman!
Is that?
Yeah!
We still have a second all the way around.
No!
For Steve Barnard, fourth over the line, it's a question of what might have been. But for everyone who has experienced this journey to the roof of the world, it's been the journey of a lifetime.
Well done, mate. What are you doing?
Well done.
Karta mera lamjunga jilla maya launa milaki na mila karta pokhara kathai pani bolauni yo gaउँमा मेरो को छ र